He does not speak. He does not scream. He loves.
He mugs delightfully.
He loves what he does for a living.
Terrifier 3. It's the third movie in the Terrifier series. Apparently, there was also a Terrifier 1 and 2. You guys asked us to review this, and we're like, sure, why not? And then Alonso learned that it was a Christmas movie, and then, of course, we had to do this. But thankfully, we also have a resident Terrifier expert, Alonso's husband, Dave White. Welcome, Dave White.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm here
Okay.
to explain the wonderful world of Terrifier to you.
Please do. If you've not subscribed yet, you should, because who even knows when Dave White's going to drop in? It's always a treat, and we don't warn you ahead of time. So if you've not subscribed, you'll miss these nuggets of wisdom.
It's the man you've been dreading. I'm back.
We've been dreading Art the Clown. We're excited to see you. Dave, please explain Terrifier 3 to us.
Who is this Santa? He's scaring my kid.
Yeah, he's scaring me too.
Hey, Santa's handing out presents!
Okay, so in Terrifier 1, Art the Clown kills everybody in really gross ways, but you get very little in the way of world building. There's a touch of it. There is a person named Victoria who is the sole survivor of an earlier Art the Clown massacre, and she figures into it somehow. You don't know exactly how. Then, in Terrifier 2, which came out in 2022, Art the Clown is back, and it's the same Halloween night. The events of number 2 take place exactly at the same time as the events of number 1. You end in one place and you pick up in the same place in Terrifier 2. So, more killing and more world building. This time, we've got a young woman named Sienna, played by Lauren LaVera. She is somehow chosen to fight Art the Clown. And she has visions of terrible things, including a cafe where they serve a kind of murder breakfast cereal. And everybody dies except for Sienna and her younger brother. Now, those are spoilers. I gave you spoilers for parts 1 and 2, but I'm not going to give you any spoilers for part 3, because if you haven't seen 1 and 2 already, too bad. Now,
and 3 does not catch you up. There is no previously on Terrifier to bring you up to speed.
I had to sit here with the horror and gore averse Alonso Duralde.
Oh my God.
Tell him when it was okay to open his eyes again.
Yeah, I did a lot of this.
And to explain, okay, well, that person is this and that person is that. But you don't really get a lot of
exposition
explaining who you're looking at and what they have to do with the story. So if you come in cold for number 3, and I'm not sure why, if you are not a film critic, why that would happen. But if you come in cold to number 3, again, too bad. So it's Christmas, and it's 5 years after the events of Terrifier 2. And Sienna has been having a rough time of it in a psychiatric facility. So has her younger brother, who is now in college, and they are going to go spend the holiday with their aunt and uncle and their cousin. And Art the Clown, because we now know, you kill him, but he keeps coming back. He is a supernatural entity.
Totally.
And the first victim from Terrifier 1, Victoria, is now his sidekick. She is also part of this supernatural situation where people are possessed by something, a demon.
Evil.
Yeah, evil.
Bloodlust.
And then there's some more killing. And it's really disgusting.
Some more killing.
So gross.
The movie was so funny. I was not expecting to laugh so much. It's really funny.
That Art the Clown he's a
Piero, a mime.
He's a flamboyant type, and
a whimsical figure.
He does not speak. He does not scream. He loves.
He mugs delightfully.
He loves what he does for a living.
Clearly,
and he and I'm sorry I interrupted you, but
no, you're good.
He has, as I said to Alonso after watching the first film, he has a dancer's mane. And
he has a joie de vivre.
Yeah, he really does.
If you like movies about people who are good at their job, I mean, you know.
He really is.
He is also the source of the comedy that takes place in these films. And in between the the legacy of Herschel Gordon Lewis lives in this character, because we were talking about this. There are PG-13 movies where people get killed, right? They get shot, and there's like a little trickle of blood, and then you see an R-rated movie, and there's more blood. In this film, when someone gets killed, it's like 5 human equivalents of blood taking place in the resulting splatter and spray and carnage and guts flying against the wall. Listen, I'm telling you right now, if that's not what you're about, you don't want to be anywhere near this movie.
It's very extreme, so much so that it's hilarious. Like, you can't take it seriously. It's so over the top in its graphic nature and in the sound design. We talk about how when you watch Stranger Things on Netflix and you have the closed captioning and it says wet squelching. This whole movie, this is like wet squelching the movie. It's so gnarly. It's so over the top that you cannot take it seriously. There is a scene that gives a whole new meaning to that famous Heather's line, "Fuck me gently with a chainsaw." There's things that happen, but it's so 80s and so grimy. Like, there's an aesthetic here, and it's practical in its effects, and I kind of admire that about it. Like, it's gross, but is having a good time with the grossness. Toward the end, I had enough. There's some torture stuff going on toward the end that I was like, okay, I'm done. This movie is over 2 hours long. That does not need to be. But I laughed a lot because a lot of that has to do with Art the Clown and just the ridiculous over the top gesticulations that he's doing and how much he is enjoying himself. But yeah, if you're squeamish, you're not going to like this. We got warned by several folks like, oh, dude, like, don't eat beforehand. Like, if you can't handle gore, don't watch this. So, Alonso, how did you do?
I spent a good 40 to 60% of the movie just not looking, and he'd be like, okay, you can look now.
Did you see when he used the entrails as garland?
I did. Take that, Hallmark. Yeah, and you mentioned at one point that I won't give away the details, but there's a very sort of traditional 80s horny teen slasher setup here, which is unprecedented in the Terrifier franchise so far up to this point. Like, this is the first time they've really gone into that place.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, and I think the extremity is the point. And if I were more into this, like, okay, it's all about tone here, because we'll watch a movie that's like gory enough that I can handle it, and it's done with a certain wacky joie de vivre. And Dave will be like, ah, ha, ha, ha. And then this movie, while I was hiding my eyes, I heard him go, oh, ho, 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 gross. So that's the meter we're working on here.
Does that mean you liked it? Is ho ho gross good for you, Dave?
Oh, yeah. See, here's the thing. I mean, I have a reputation as, a snooty art film person. But boy, do I love watching people get their heads chopped off. And people get their heads chopped off all the time. And all the other parts that a person can have as well get chopped off. What I really admire about this series of films is Damien Leone's commitment to really extravagant and meticulously planned practical effects, because all of the kills are practical. All of them are done with like really clever editing and, fake this and fake that and
prosthetics
and squirty blab of everything, prosthetic stuff. It's truly, I think, magnificent work in the world of gore. And that's not something that people like to see very often. And even horror fans sometimes think, oh, that was too much for me.
Right.
But when you, as you said earlier, when you talk about a film like this, the tone, you said this, the tone matters because there's a comedic element here. I think if you had taken out any sense of the comedic, if you had stripped it of its supernatural qualities, if it had just been, there's a really horrible guy.
It would be Maniac.
It would be Maniac, and that is a film that will leave you feeling bad about it.
Also
yourself.
a Christmas movie, but one I could not finish.
Yeah.
And there's a shout out to that film in this film.
There is.
Well, it gets less funny as it goes along is the thing. And that's how I had a hard time watching it.
Yeah.
Is there's like some, it's very prolonged. There's a gross thing involving rats. Like that whole scene, I'm like, okay, I'm done now. Because it's not funny at that point. It's just like survival and it's fear.
The the type of victim takes a turn in this
Yeah.
film as well. I'm not going to spoil that, but again, if you are a very sensitive person,
Yeah.
this is not for you.
No, I
It's
thought
for
Lauren
me.
LaVera was good. She looks like a
She
young
is.
Angelina Jolie. She's like Gia era Angelina Jolie.
Mm.
And she gets what the assignment is.
Mhm.
And she's got a, like, I like her delivery. I like her presence. So I think like she is down for this. I guess she was in the second one too.
Yes, she's the
Okay.
continuing character through this one, and she obviously, as we learn in this film, has been sort of chosen somehow. So
Mhm.
she's the Laurie Strode that we're going to
Mhm.
see go through these next movies. There's already a 4 planned,
Clearly.
and
There's some fun character actors who show up, clearly
Yes.
understanding the
a
assignment.
lot of cameos. Yeah.
Yeah. The scene in the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
But Lauren LaVera is really talented and is really game for everything this movie has. And I really also want to say David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown.
Totally.
Yeah.
Let's shout him out because he's having a good
Serving
time.
Face.
Many faces, and
And
it's
we're
as you say, it's a wordless role. It's a totally physical
Mhm.
role. He has to terrify us, hence the name, wordlessly, and it's a range he shows.
Yeah. And we're watching a Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers sort of emerge
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
this franchise.
There's an Art the Clown popcorn bucket coming this weekend when the
Yeah.
movie opens.
Ooh, it is out
Yeah.
this weekend. Oh, we'll have to keep an eye out for that.
It's hideous looking. You can eat your popcorn out of a decapitated head.
I'd be afraid to put my hand into anything Art the Clown related, and like I wouldn't assume that all the fingers would come back.
Yeah.
That's just me. What's your number then? Dave and Alonso, what are your numbers?
I feel like I'm allowed to give one because I literally watched half of the movie and was doing this the rest of the time. But
All
I mean,
right.
based on what I saw, I'll say a 7. It does what it set out to do.
Yeah. Dave, you are the connoisseur here. What's your number?
This is a 9.
So the
Nine.
real number is a 9. For those of you who know what you're talking about, this is a 9. For
a
me and
9.
Alonso, the newbies, I will also say 7 because it does what it does really well for a while. And eventually I'm like, enough, I'm done. So, all right. Terrifier 3 is in theaters this weekend. It premiered at Fantastic Fest. So it's out there for your enjoyment. Dave, thank you for your insights.
My pleasure.